Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CALI Culture Podcast, episode 23, featuring returning guest Kameron Bryant, who was initially on the podcast for episode 6 back in March the 7th. Now, Kameron discussed with us on episode 6 his amazing first trip to Cali that occurred in mid February. Well, ladies and gentlemen, since then, Kameron has relocated to Cali and is building a new life in Cali and enjoying the Cali culture. But we're going to discuss his relocation from all the way to the northeast United States to Cali, Colombia. So you definitely don't want to miss this episode. And without further ado, episode 23, listen, learn, and enjoy. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CALI Culture Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Preston. This is the only podcast on the air that showcases the wonderful culture in Cali, Colombia. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a great show for you today. If you ever wonder what it's like living abroad, or even beyond that, or before that, relocating to a different country, experiencing a different culture, living in a different culture, assimilating to the food, the people, the culture, the local government, then you're definitely going to want to listen to this show today because we have a guest that was originally on the show back in March on episode 6 that actually relocated to Cali recently. And he's going to give us all his experiences and lessons learned regarding relocation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our guest, Mr. Kameron Bryant. Kameron, welcome to the show, brother.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to be back. We've got a lot to talk about, so I'm really excited to return.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we indeed have a lot to talk about. It was back in February that we first had a consultation that you hadn't gone to Cali prior to that. To traveling to Cali, and then you took a trip in mid-February, and you shared with us that wonderful trip, that wonderful first trip, by the way, that you had in Cali, Colombia. But here's the interesting thing: after that trip, 5 months later, actually less than 5 months later, you're actually physically in Cali right now. So my
100%.
first question is sort of a two-part question, and that is, first of all, I'm going to ask the obvious question: why Cali? Why did you decide to relocate to Cali? And the second question is, what have your experiences been thus far?
Awesome. Awesome. So, answer the first question directly. Callie embraced me from the very first trip that I made here.
Mhm.
We talked about it on the last episode a little bit, how I was going to be connecting with Mariana, doing the walking tour. And the way that that turned out is that was the very next day after I got off of the plane. And even on that same day of the walking tour, I immediately started meeting locals, saying hi, building a network very, very fast. Because, well, people here are friendly. People here are friendly. They will talk to you. They will say hi. They will ask how you're doing and genuinely mean it. And growing up in Southwest Texas, right? I'm used to that. That's what I'm used to. And I can tell when someone genuinely asks, like, how you doing? And they actually care. So that led to a lot of different connections, culture, people, super amazing, super nice. I've been enjoying that to super high levels. We'll get into that as well. And the second part of the question is how the experience been? Amazing. Been absolutely amazing. Obviously, there's some learning curves with anything that's new, right? We'll get to some of that too, but it's been phenomenal.
So, Cameron, why did you decide to make the decision so quickly to move to Cali? You know, I consult a lot of people in traveling to Cali and helping them make that decision. And I can say you're the first that have made the decision so quickly. It's typically, I would say, within 6 months to a year, most people relocate to Cali. And bro, you did it in record time in less than 5 months. So again, for the viewers that don't remember episode 6, we had episode 6 on March the 7th, and I believe June, was it early June? You actually were there physically in Cali.
Early June.
Wow,
100%.
amazing. So how did you make that decision? Why and how did you make that decision so quickly?
Yeah, so a couple of dominoes fell in line. As I previously mentioned, met a lot of people on that first trip, kind of quickly built a community, and it made me feel really, really comfortable with the city as locals were showing me around and showing me different parts of the culture that I really, really enjoyed. So that initial like human warmth, right? That's hard to encapsulate. That's hard to find even outside of America and other places. It was there
Mhm.
immediately, right? So I figured, okay, that's a pretty good sign. Okay? Number two, I am an action taker. I know some people like to dip their toes into things. In some parts of my life, I'm a toe dipper, but in other things, a decision this big, like, well, if I like it and everything's pointing that direction, let's go experience it. I'm not going to learn about it from a video or from secondhand information from
Mhm.
somebody. I need to actually go there and see what that's like. So, with everything that happened so well on the first trip, I was like, let's go get in the thick of things. And thirdly, I work remotely. I'm very
Mhm.
blessed to work in the position I am. I have a lot of flexibility with
Mhm.
my schedule, my location. Coming to work for, they don't give me a hard time with where I'm living. And then the fourth one, I do have a little bit of a cheat code as a very close person of mine does know Spanish. So I'm able to kind of navigate things a little bit easier than someone who might not know the language right away.
Absolutely. I do think it is the key word you said is action. You have to take action on these things because I don't think there's any right time to relocate. It's just like what I always say about retiring. Like if you ask most people, 65 or 60 and up, when is a good time to retire? They're usually going to say there's not an optimal time to retire. But when you make the decision, you have to act on that decision. And so I definitely agree with that. That's a good point.
Right.
Now, you, how are you adjusting to Cali? Obviously, you relocated from Washington D.C., I believe. And Washington D.C., the culture there, I would say even the culture there is different than where I am in Georgia.
Okay.
So moving from Washington D.C. to Cali, Colombia, that's definitely has to be a big culture shock, and it's got to be just a different pace of life. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, 100%. So the pace of life is definitely dramatically different. DC, one of America's biggest metros. We
Hmm.
have three airports. It's a huge government base. I mean, everything is moving and shaking. There's lobbyists, there's governors, and obviously so on and so forth. And the culture there, while I would never bash the DC culture, it's very I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna say political, but I don't mean it in a political sense. I mean it's
Hmm.
when you meet people, it's kind of like a job interview, a little bit. Everybody's trying to rank each other based on what they do and what GS rank you are, and so on and so forth. And you can build genuine connections there, but I think we can all be transparent that America could be somewhat shallow in the way we develop relationships,
Yeah.
right? And that completely changed the second I got off that plane here. Like I mentioned earlier, just the genuine kindness of people
Hmm.
here. I love that to pieces. One thing that I also think has been a huge thing for me, I'm a fitness guy.
Hmm.
Being able to have an extremely walkable living area, and you can walk in DC, you 100% can. But
Right.
here, it's different. There's
Yeah.
something different about opening the door here, going to the park, and people are smiling, buenas, ¿cómo estás? It's
Hmm.
just very, very different, warm vibe to that. I love walking Cali, absolutely love it. So the culture shock for me was a beneficial culture
Hmm.
shock, right? I loved everything from the food to even just hearing music randomly in the street
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Like you never know when someone's gonna just bring out an instrument and start
Yeah.
playing music, and I have adored that ever since, and really been able to build some really good local friendships is here as well, which
Hmm.
has been a huge plus on the culture shift.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about let's delve into the relocation process because this is what scares everyone. You're it's not a state to state within the U.S. relocation. Um, I've moved literally more than more than 15 times in the United States, and every move was always a little nerve wracking. But when you're talking about moving to a different country, specifically
Mhm.
Cali, that brings about challenges of itself. So, can you describe some of the challenges of relocating to a different country?
Yeah, 100%. I'll start with just handling your stuff stateside, right? Putting your stuff in
Hmm.
storage, into your lease or whatever agreement you may have in mortgage. There's definitely got to be a lot of paperwork and crossing I's and dotting T's. And I think I said that backwards, but we'll keep moving forward. But there's a lot of things you have to handle on stateside to make sure that you're good to go. Make sure that your banks know that you're relocating so that your bank accounts don't get flagged. Make sure that your family has contact information for you just in case something was to happen.
Hmm.
People need to know who to call and how to find you. My car is at a family member's house right now, staying there. So there is a list of things you need to do
Hmm.
before you make that transition. And you really want to make sure your business is taken care of because you don't want to have to go back and forth with flights handling legal
Right.
documentation or business documentation. So make sure that that's really covered. I think one of the things I would do in retrospect differently that I did not do correctly here is just make sure, because I'm 1099, right?
Hmm.
Make sure that your tax and your money situations are squared away. I'm
Yeah.
in the middle of doing that. That's something I should have done
Hmm.
prior to the relocation. That's the one
Hmm.
thing I didn't do too well. So I would definitely encourage everyone to do that. Now,
Hmm.
getting here, again, a little bit of a cheat code for me because I'm prior military, right? I've
Hmm.
got multiple deployments. I've flown in C-130s in very uncomfortable settings, right? And been in places that people don't speak a lick of English.
Hmm.
And so I'm very comfortable with that, that's not weird for me. That doesn't make me feel scared about going to some place. But you can still navigate Colombia. You still navigate Cali, and especially if you have someone who's there who speaks the language bilingual, can help you along. The relocation to where I'm living now, I'm currently in Airbnb, and I chose Airbnb just for that Airbnb protection for the moment,
Yeah.
right? Just in case I need to relocate or go somewhere else. I think that's a good first step if maybe you're nervous about a rental agreement
Hmm.
or some kind of housing agreement as well. Just gives you some protection and gives you a little bit of ease if you were to change your mind,
Hmm.
essentially.
Good point. And you mentioned something that I want to stress to the viewers, and that is you definitely have to let your banks and financial institutions know you're relocating. For example, and this is a really good point, ladies and gentlemen, that you should take a mental note or write it down. Fidelity. You cannot just log on the website from Colombia. You need a VPN to
Hmm.
actually log onto that website. Now, here's the thing: if you just forget about that money, you never log in, you never check in with them. It actually it has happened. I have heard reports that certain financial institutions like Fidelity will freeze your account. So that could be something very serious if you have a 401k, if you have significant stocks, uh, significant Roth IRAs or traditional IRAs. They're with these financial institutions, J.P. Morgan, Fidelity, etc. And there's no activity on the account, they will default to a freeze because they're basically like, well, maybe the person passed away, and we don't want anybody tapping into this account, so we're going to freeze it for now. So that is extremely important before you relocate to contact your bank, your financial institution, let them know what you're doing, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Good
Jeremy, I
point.
wanted to piggyback on that and share
Hmm.
something too. I think it's really good idea to leave someone you trust some kind of general power of attorney. I
Mm.
think that's a fantastic idea with your
Right.
storage unit, with your
Hmm.
belongings. Kind of like I mentioned, you don't want to be having to fly back and forth for
Hmm.
legal documentation. Leaving someone you trust with a general power of attorney will help you sleep at night because if there's any emergency stateside or you need
Hmm.
something done stateside, they can do that on your behalf with no problem.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, in regards to that, well, I'll ask you the question: did you have to move any, or ship or move any of your things over, or did you just put them all in storage and then got the items that you needed to, whether it be furniture or whatever, in Colombia?
Yeah, I definitely put all of my things in storage because even though I moved quick, one of the things that was in the back of my head is say, okay, we'll move fast, but we will put our stuff in storage, and then I'll do an Airbnb if this doesn't pan out,
Mhm.
if this isn't the thing I think it is in my mind. Right? I wanted to make sure I didn't have that shiny new toy kind of feeling, and then get here in 2 months and be like, maybe I moved too quick. So
Yeah.
I kept things in storage just in case that was going to happen. Hasn't happened,
Mhm.
but I left everything back there and it don't regret it. Got everything out here. The Airbnb has furnished everything.
Excellent, excellent. And in regards to that process, the Airbnb process of figuring out, okay, what neighborhood or barrio do I want to live in? What was that process for you and your significant other? That okay, well, we've seen five different neighborhoods, and I know you did the walking tour, so you saw several of the major neighborhoods. But what was that process for narrowing it down to El Peñon, which is essentially we're neighbors, by the way?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. No, it was a process. It 100% was. And, while we're talking about me moving fast, I didn't move strategic too.
Hmm.
I went to the first trip and the second trip. The first trip was, I think, about 12, 13 days. The
Hmm.
second trip was 30 to 45. Okay.
Mm.
And in that second trip, I went to every section of Cali that I heard was tenable, that I heard was a good neighborhood.
Hmm.
You told me about it. Mariana told me about it. The locals told me about these places. So I went to Norte. I
Hmm.
tried San Antonio, Granada. I did look at the South. I did go
Hmm.
down there and take a look at that area. Beautiful area, just a little
Hmm.
far out for
Yeah,
my taste. All right, we can come back to that because the South is gorgeous. They
it
definitely have
is.
the thing going on there. Did El Peñon, and every
Hmm.
time I came to El Peñon, it felt like the place.
Yeah.
Every time I came here, I think about three Airbnbs in El Peñon.
Hmm.
Love the neighborhood, love the people who live there.
Hmm.
It's I would equate it to living in like a historic district in a
Hmm.
metro area,
Yeah.
right? Like a brownstone in Brooklyn or something
Right.
like
Yep.
that. Right, that makes sense. So all the different areas were still great. San Antonio, there's tons of people who love San Antonio. Lots of expats in San Antonio. Granada, fantastic too. A little bit more lively, a little bit
Hmm.
more going on in Granada. They like to party and have a good time down there. So not necessarily where I want to live, but you can go have fun. We
Hmm.
mentioned the South, and the North is nice too. It's just not as walkable and close to everything as El Peñon is, which is I
Right.
tend to favor more.
No, and you're exactly right. That was, I mean, one of the reasons why my first investment there in Cali was El Peon for that exact reason. That I did the same thing. I went to several different barrios, and yeah, San Antonio's nice. It's historic, but to me it had the more of the backpack vibe,
Hundred percent.
and it is a beautiful area to go and get coffee or enjoy a dinner. But would I want to live there? No. Same thing with Granada. I think I liked it, but it was a little bit more young, like you said. Nightclub
Hmm.
scene is definitely there. Party scene is there. Love to go there to eat and then come back. But El Peon, you're exactly right. It is, first of all, it's walkable to all of the barrios we just mentioned. On
Everybody.
the west or the north end. And then the second thing is, you're right. It is just very laid back. Great food. You still have entertainment. I mean, if you want, there's
Tons.
salsa bars right there at right there in El Peon, right by actually right by my apartment. There's a
100%.
salsa bar, so it has access to all those things. But it's just, to me, I feel like it is a much more mature barrio for the traveler or the expat.
100%. 100%. And I want to take a second and shout out Andre at Living Cross Borders. Love your podcast. Glad you're liking it. I'll jump back in here. But no, El Pinion is fantastic. For me, my stage of life, and I still like to have fun. The boulevard is right up the street. I can walk there in less than 12 minutes, and it's a
Hmm.
blast every single time. The river is right across from me.
Hmm.
Fantastic catwalk. Really nice restaurants. Really, really
Hmm.
nice restaurants. El Finion trips me out because when you open the door, it's like the esteemed of the esteemed is down in El Finion. And I
Yeah.
want to clear this up too. I won't go off on a tangent here, but I think some of the misconceptions that Americans may have about Colombia is everyone here is at a lower social economic level. I can tell you right now that is not true.
Yeah.
There are plenty of G wagons and Mercedes Benzes right outside, right outside at these restaurants, at Gringos, at I can't remember the other restaurant on top of my head, but literally around the corner. So you're
Mhm.
not cutting back on lifestyle. If anything, for some of us, you're gonna have to come down here and tighten up. I just want to
Exactly.
put that out there.
Exactly. And I definitely want to talk on that financial aspect, but I'll emphasize yes, there's a lot of people in the estradas, which, for those of you that are not familiar with the neighborhoods, they neighbor they number the neighborhoods. They give the neighborhoods numbers by based on the quality, the safety, the financial aspect, the economy within that particular neighborhood. So if you're in a 5 or 6 strata, it's going to be a nice neighborhood, and so that's where you live in. Essentially, Cam is strata 5 or 6, and they're very exclusive neighborhoods. And you're right, you will see BMWs and G wagons and all kind of luxury cars within with that barrio. So it's definitely the financial aspect of Cali. It's not it's not what you think. It's not what a lot of people think. There's definitely a misconception there. And I want to shout out Dre as well. Dre has a great show. I've been on his show, had
Yeah.
the great opportunity of being on the show, and he's a supporter of Cali culture, and I appreciate everything he's done in regards to supporting Cali culture, and just also his work in Cali. He's brought a lot of expats to Cali, Colombia, and showed them the way. He does consultation as well. So, Dre, keep doing your thing, and I'll talk to you soon.
100%.
Um, so overall, I would say from what I'm hearing, Cameron, is you are very more than happy with your decision to move to Cali.
More than happy. I asked you before the show. I was like, "How much time do we got?" Because there's so many things I could go through. I mean, just last week with the World Cup, I had a blast. And I went to every version of watching the World Cup you could imagine. I started at a restaurant for the first half. And then I walked down to the boulevard during halftime and had some
Mhm.
fun out there. They were spraying, I can't remember, some spraying some kind of foam, and the horns were loud, and had a blast doing that. And then I went to kind of this closed off area where it's kind of gated. You pay, a very nominal fee to get in, sit down and watch the game. That was phenomenal. Like I said, I grew up in Southwest Texas, so watching football, watching soccer here amongst Latins and how much they love it, just like we love football every Sunday. It is top notch. You need to do that. If you haven't experienced it, you need to hear goal in real life. That you need to do that. That needs to be done at least once in real life. And also to that point, just I keep beating the same dead horse here, but I can't overemphasize the way people have treated me here and have welcomed me here. I have met every kind of person in this city that you can imagine. I met people who live in a very exclusive area called Napa Valley. It's in the
Mhm.
mountains. They build these amazing, I call them jungle mansions, and I mean that in the most positive way possible.
Mhm.
Right? It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The weather's amazing. And these people are business owners and they do very well for themselves. And they welcomed me with open arms. And it's kind of like what I mentioned before. They didn't ask me, hey, what do you do? That wasn't the first question.
Mhm.
They're not trying to put me on a respect ladder that we kind of go through on day-to-day lives in America. It's like, hey, nice to meet you. They ask a little about your story, and here's some food. Are you enjoying your time? Right? Do you like Cali? How has it been? And on the other end, I have some local friends who don't live in Napa Valley. They live on the west side, live on the east side, live on the north side, and they're phenomenal people. They work hard, very, very nice. Again, always trying to feed you. I went to one of their homes, like very different from Dapa. I went to one of their homes, and it was me, their two sons, and their daughter and their grandkid. And I got to do a true, real Colombian family soccer game, like watch. Just
Wow.
like you see on TV where the doors open and it's chicharron, it's food. Hey, you want another beer? You want that?
Mhm.
So I've been loving that. Loving that.
Amazing.
Absolutely loving that. Cannot overstate that.
Amazing.
Times.
Um, and I do want you to emphasize to the viewers that might be thinking about relocating to Colombia, maybe Cali, maybe Medellin. how is important is it to get outside your bubble, get outside your comfort zone? You know, we as Americans, we sort of live in our own shell, we live in our own world. And can you help stress the importance of when you move to a different country, the whole point is to make friends and understand and assimilate to the culture. So yes, you want to get out of your comfort zone and meet people. Just talk on that a bit.
100%. Quick disclaimer, I am about as patriotic as you can be in this body. I want to be very clear. This is not Bash America hour for me.
Yeah.
I love America. I love where I'm from. I love my family. So I want to put that out there.
Mhm.
Also, in conjunction with that, being able to get out of your comfort zone and meet these people where they're at in their culture, how they act, how they talk, what they enjoy, will open your mind to things that you didn't even know were interest for you.
Mhm.
You're like, I didn't even know this was interesting. I'm just going to kind of pull on this thread, and they will invite you to different things and show you different things. And I think it's just good for your health, your mental health, spiritual health, everything you could imagine, to go out here and just experience life as they do it. One of my mission statements in my head before I got here was, I'm not coming to Colombia to Americanize Colombia. I'm just trying to assimilate and fit in. And that has been the best decision I could have possibly made. I'm not worried about what I did back in DC. I'm not worried about what I did back in America. I'm going to figure out what they do here, and the things I love, I'll keep. And if it's not for me, it's not for me. But no
Right.
one pressures you to do anything,
Mhm.
right? And I've been loving that assimilation, and I'm still learning. I'm still
Mhm.
super early on. There's so many more things that I can learn, so many more different foods I can try, dances, festivals. August is a huge month for Colombia. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, come out here with an open mind, and I think you'll be more than genuinely surprised and happy about it.
Absolutely. Now, what is something about the? Let me ask the question this way: You're in Cali now. What is something about Cali now being an expat? Because you're officially an expat now. What is
Yeah.
something about Cali now that you're an expat that you did not know prior? Say, as a tourist or the first or second time that you went to Cali, what is something that you know now that is like, oh, this is obvious that I would not have known unless I actually lived here.
No, that is a very, very good question. And I could go a few different ways with this, but I'll start with one. Um, when you're choosing housing and choosing where to live,
Mhm.
there are things that you may take for granted coming from America that may not be like a foundational thing out here, but I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, you might want to take a look and see, okay, does this place strictly run by gas, or do they have a gas apparatus in this, or what's kind of the electrical situation here? There's just things that you want to check out as far as your living arrangements,
Mm.
right? For instance, I had a shower head fixed last week, and there was nothing wrong with the shower head. It just didn't have enough electrical current, right? That was the only issue, but that wasn't something that was on top of mind when I was relocating or trying to figure things out. So that's one thing.
Mhm.
Secondarily, just learning the culture, customs, and like greetings, and how people greet each other here is a lot more warmth, and they will stop and have a full conversation with you, even if they were going to do something else, if they recognize you, if they know you. In America, we can know each other and be like, hey, Jeremy, all right, I'll see you later, brother.
Yeah,
Like, let's just keep
yeah,
on walking. That does not happen here. If you
right.
run into somebody who knows you, they're going to stop, they're going to speak, they're going to genuinely ask how you're doing. And just sometimes for the American mind, you got to kind of wrap your head around that
Mhm.
in a good way. And I think, thirdly, I think I truly am Cali specific. I underestimated that walkability aspect and how
Mhm.
much of a quality of life increase that is, right? Like, I knew it conceptually, that's good, but
Mhm.
everyone walks here all the time. It's just a part of what they do. And they could be 50, 60, 70, 80. They're still walking around, living life. And while I saw that when I first got here, I'm learning just how much a part of the fabric of the culture being outdoors and being outside really is, even if it's a Tuesday night at 7:30.
I want to touch on that point a little bit more because there is a significant, what I call fitness culture in Cali. As you indicated, people love to walk. I know for a fact you said you hike Tres Cruces, which
Yes.
some would consider that a very strenuous and difficult hike. I would too, by the way. I did it myself.
I consider it also a strenuous. 100%.
I would consider myself decently in shape. I'm definitely not the athlete I was 20 years ago, but I'm decently in shape. Stay in the gym. Try to. I can't run, but I can definitely get on the treadmill. But yeah, that there was a couple of times where I was breathing hard during that hike. And the interesting part is the people that were. I decided to do it alone for whatever reason, but there was people obviously on the trail. And some of the people that were on the trail, I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at them. It's like, why am I breathing so hard?
I had the same experience.
Yeah.
I had the exact same experience. I went up there with some local Colinos, made friends, and they're like, "Hey, come out. We're gonna go Tuesday morning. You want to get out there before the sun gets too high." And like I said, military background, fitness background. I'm thinking, okay, we're just gonna hike up this mountain and be good to go. And you get the end of that first third of that hike, and you're like, okay, I completely underestimated the amount of effort that it's going to go into this hike. And just like you said, you're seeing the local Colinos. Oh, and you can see in their face, they're looking at you like, huh, first time, right? Because they're just going up and down like it's no problem. It's hilarious. I had an experience. It was quite funny.
Well, and then the interesting thing is, there was a couple of locals that told me they do it multiple times a week. So they hike up there all the way to the top, all the way to the three crosses, 2 or 3 times a week, and they go up there to actually work out. So I think that's absolutely amazing that people are not sedentary in Cali. People believe in getting out, and if you really think about it, the way people dance, the way the dancing culture is so keen in Cali, you have to be in shape.
100%.
So
100%.
have you found a gym, and you belong to the gym there in Cali?
100% Smart Fit El Pinon, about a 10, 12-minute walk from where I'm from.
Mhm.
The culture in that gym, amazing. And I consider myself someone who takes care of themselves. But every time I walk in that door, it's a little bit reminder that there are people who are doing it a little bit better than me right
Yeah,
now, male and female. That gym is phenomenal. And sometimes people compare Smart Fit to like Planet Fitness. I would say, how do they say it, Jerry? Más o menos? Not so so. Not,
yeah,
not not really. Smart Fit is a little bit more elite in the
I
people
agree.
that attend there, especially the El Pinon region.
Hmm.
And the culture of just staying in shape, taking care of yourself, regardless of what age, is intact, and loving that through and through.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's definitely a step up from Planet Fitness. Um, the thing that I noticed right off the bat is they have a lot of cardio equipment in Smart
Hmm.
Fit, either the one in Centenario Shopping Center or in El
That was
Peon.
great too.
Um, and yes, and then they have obviously a room for cycling, and if you like cycling, they do spin classes. And then the weights are good too, right? They have a lot of I like to do a lot of the free weights, and they definitely have plenty of stations to be able to allow you to do free weights. So I think it's everything you need in that gym. And it's not just Smart Fit. There's other gyms. There's Body Tech. There's
High tech.
24/7 Fitness. There's gyms throughout the city, and it is again, I would say it's a keen fitness culture in Cali. And I would just say this, and then we'll move on from fitness. But even around the river, the real Cali, you'll
Yes.
see people walking and running all the time.
Runners,
And
running clubs, 100%. One thing I don't want to miss because we were talking about gyms, I did
Mhm.
not mention San Fernando. I stayed in
Mm,
San Fernando for a little while too. Absolutely gorgeous area. Do not want to overlook them. There was a little local gym that I went to for about 2 weeks when I was looking at that area, and it's kind of the gyms that I love. Kind of a garage gym, right? Where it's a bunch of older equipment, but it's a really, really good gym culture there. That area is phenomenal too, and you can find a lot of those kind of smaller boutique kind of gyms out here as well.
mhm. Excellent, absolutely. So I know you're in the process of applying for a visa, and I'd like you to just sort of just describe that process for us, and specifically, any challenges within that process that you might want to outline or highlight for viewers that might have to go through the same process. And by the way, as you know, I went through the process several times now, and yeah, there's definitely some challenges associated with the visa process. And obviously, it depends on which one you get. I have an investor's visa,
Mhm.
but there's challenges in each type of visa, and I just like you to highlight some of those things.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm going to be going towards the digital nomad visa for me and my specific situation. That's the easiest route right now. It's going to have the least amount of difficulty, but I would say that the challenges are maybe like one or two fold. One, just being comfortable for me personally, being comfortable sharing that amount of information,
Hmm.
right outside of America. That's one thing, but that's more of a mental challenge versus the actual process. The
Hmm.
process itself, I'd say start sooner than you think, because the wheels of legal here move kind of slow. It can take some time. You may get asked multiple follow up questions. I haven't gotten to this point where I've heard of other people who have been brought in for interviews to verify the data and things that they're sharing. But it's really about having your ducks in a row with your paperwork. For me, it's
Hmm.
just proof of income, proof of where I'm working, letters from my management team, just proving that everything I'm sharing is true, bank account statements to verify income requirements, and then you wait, and then on the back end of that, each step has a timeline for you to reply. Right, so
Hmm.
you want to pay very close attention to that. So you'll do step one, and then they'll reply, and you'll have a certain window to reply, or you'll have to start the process all over again.
Hmm.
So yeah, you want to be very mindful of the time limits that come with each particular visa. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds because I know each visa process is different. I would just say start sooner than you think,
Hmm.
have your paperwork and your ducks in a row. And I also spoke to, can't remember her name off the top of my head, getting a consultation with someone who's familiar with the process is
Yeah,
a really
I
good
believe you
thing too.
spoke to my friend Patrick's wife.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, I'm about to figure her name myself now. It'll come back to me in a minute. But yeah, you spoke to my buddy Patrick's wife. Yeah. Hmm.
100%. Yeah, she's really helpful as well. Really, really helpful. She gave me a lot of insight to what the visa process looks like and what it looks like now. Because
Yeah.
pretty sure we can
Jessica,
get
that's
to
her name.
this.
Sorry, Jessica. Jessica.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jessica. Pretty sure we're gonna get to this a little bit too, as far as Colombia is becoming a little bit more stringent with their visa requirements, right? And for good reason, and we'll get into that when the time's ready.
Sure. Absolutely. I want to make a couple shots out. Hey, Dre, love. We were just talking about Dre. Actually, live love crossing borders. Appreciate you sending out the podcast link to everyone. Everyone that's joined. We do this podcast, the Cali Culture Podcast, showcasing the wonderful culture about Cali every weekend, should I say, every Saturday, 2 p.m. Colombia time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And so, if you're a first time viewer, please continue to follow what we're doing. We again discuss the wonderful culture of Cali, Colombia, and we always bring up real good topics. T Mac, salute to Ed Dre. Yeah, thanks for joining and thanks for listening to the podcast. We appreciate all viewers. And if you have any questions in regards to specifically for today's topic is about relocation. We have a live and living color, a person that is relocated less than 5 months. So if you have any questions, submit your questions right now. Put your questions in the chat, and we'll answer those questions while Cameron's here. So Cameron, let's talk about the topic that's always elephant in the room in regards to Cali, and that is safety. So a lot of people, man, I've consoled a lot of people over the past 6 months, and the first question that I get is Cali safe? They've seen something on social media, they've heard news articles or news clips that Cali wasn't safe, and usually it's not within Cali, it's outside of Cali in a smaller city, but somewhere in Valle de Cauca department. But a lot of people are concerned with safety, and can you just touch on that? Have you experienced any safety incidents? I'll just ask you that point blank, and then a follow up to that question is how do you ensure that you yourself your significant other are safe, same as you would in DC, are safe and not the target.
100%. So I myself have not had any safety issues.
Hmm.
Obviously, that comes from just being smart about how you move and where you move. I mentioned earlier I made a lot of local friends, and that was one of the questions that I would ask every single person, no matter where they were at economically. I just wanted to hear everyone's opinion. And the general consensus is, just don't give your papaya, sir. And I believe you've been watching Jeremy's podcast, you'll know what that means. But I have not felt unsafe in any circumstances. Again, I compared where I live to being in like a historic district in a major metro area. So, of course, every once in a while you will have someone walking the streets, someone who, may look like an unsavory character, but that's not uncommon if you have lived in a city or grown up in a city
Hmm.
anywhere on the globe. It's not unique to Cali.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you go further out in the department, like you mentioned, I wouldn't suggest it unless you knew someone who
Hmm.
knows that area. Okay. But I haven't had any safety issues, any safety concerns. I move smart. I make sure I listen to what the locals tell me.
Hmm.
And I think your spidey sense always works. So if it smells funny, just move quickly. And ensuring day-to-day safety is just as simple as knowing where you're going, knowing who you're going with. Go with people you trust. Go to places people have told you, yeah, you're clear over here. This is a good area. Day-to-day safety, I was more keen on it, more aware of it the first couple of weeks I got
Hmm.
here. But not saying that I'm not, I'm still vigilant. I'm
Sure.
still keep my head on the swivel, but it's come down considerably because El Peñon is gorgeous area. It's super nice. And then
Hmm.
they have silent patrols in El Peñon. Yeah, the cops will ride around with their lights off. There's consistent, I don't know the technical name for them, but people that are standing on the street, like
Hmm.
bringing in cars, right? There's guards
Hmm.
everywhere in every location. So it's very little chance if you're in the right area, something bad is going to happen to you. Just
Right.
don't get papaya. Don't come out here with your Rolex and your new J's and your
Hmm.
Gucci belt, because one, you're going to
Right.
stand out. Now you're just inviting attention.
Right.
Okay? You're going to bring it on yourself. But I, I don't have a ton of concern about safety, honestly.
Yeah, and T Mac, I see your comment
Yep.
there. No dark papaya. That's absolutely. Don't give papaya. And that's just don't dress flashy. Don't be flashing money around. Uh, don't go to the bar with a wad of money. That's just again inviting someone that you know might not have a lot or anything. Is inviting somebody to get you to rob you. And so that's absolutely not the thing to do. Be smart, be wise, use this head. A lot of things, and we're going to talk about a lot what's going on in Medellin right now, but a lot of things that happen in Medellin don't have to happen if you use this head, if you just use a little bit of common sense. I know you got
100%.
something to say on that one, Cameron.
Yeah, I do. I do. And I'm gonna try not to get canceled with my response there. But shout out to Drake. You're 100% correct. Cali is a grown man's city. Is
Yeah,
100% a grown man's city.
yeah.
And to the point about Medellin and the things that are happening over there, anything bad happens to anyone, there's
Hmm.
a level of empathy I have with that.
Hmm.
With that being said, okay, if you are doing things in a foreign country that you would not do in your own, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
I don't understand why you would go to another country and swipe right, left, not know the language, not know
Hmm.
locals, meet a stranger you don't know, take them back to a residence, no verification, no check, no anything. And if you're lucky, you wake up in 48, 72 hours. If you're not, we never hear from you again.
That's right.
But the start of that was you doing something that you would not do in your own city. There are parts of
Hmm.
DC I didn't go.
Hmm.
There are parts of Houston I wouldn't go, parts of Dallas, Los Angeles, Miami, New York City. It's no different here. You just look crazier to me because you're doing it in a place you're not even aware.
Hmm.
Right? I don't get it. It makes no sense. Every time I see that story, I listen. I'm like, okay, what happened? where? Okay,
Mhm.
you were at a club with who? And you chose to take a stranger you just met to your residence. No one vetted this person. I just, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's sad. It's tragic. I don't want to disrespect anyone's family or any tragedies that have happened out there, but I don't understand the mentality. That's essentially what I'm saying.
Well, I'm gonna go a little harder on them, Cam, because at this point, look, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. At this point, if you get yourself in that kind of issue, you're just being silly. Period. We've all heard now hundreds. Now we're not talking about
Yeah.
5, 10, couple of couple of
Yeah.
20 cases here. We're talking about hundreds of cases where you
Mhm.
go to Medellin and where these guys are going to Medellin and doing exactly the play that you just said. You're meeting some person, some woman off the street, and you bring her back to the Airbnb, and then wonder why you lose $10,000 in one night, or wonder why you wake up beat up. Or
Yeah.
worst case scenario, like you said, some of these guys are not waking up at all, and that's the worst. That's the worst way to go out. Is you looking at to go to a different culture, to vacation, to have a good time, and then you go out like that. So at this point, guys, I just say it's ignorant and silly, and you can't have too much sympathy at this point. I mean, everybody's telling you not what not to do. That's just like if I tell you not to go and walk down the street because there's 10 rattlesnakes, and you do it anyway. All right, you get bit, then you get what you get.
100%. And I'll piggyback and be a little bit more aggressive here with you. It's in America, what would we say? Brother, you got played, but you
Right?
played yourself. You
Yeah.
played yourself. Like, and I just that's the part. My life is worth more than maybe a temporary moment with a stranger in a country I've never met. Again,
Hmm.
I wouldn't do that in DC. If this happened in DC, the coverage would be very different. It wouldn't be, oh, this is such a tragedy. It would be like, well, he wasn't that bright and
Right.
she took advantage of him. There
Hmm.
is no difference here. I just think it's worse because
Yeah.
you're doing it in a place that you truly don't understand.
Right. Exactly. 100%. I want to take a few comments here. We got some good comments from T Mac. Just put a few of those comments on screen real quick because this is a topic that can't be discussed enough. So, okay, T Mac says Medellin is enjoyable as long as you come for the right reasons. If you come for the wrong reasons, the city will expose you and prey on your weaknesses. There it
100%.
is. Exactly right.
100%.
Yeah, and you made a good point, Cameron. You wouldn't do that in your own city. I live 2 hours away from Atlanta. There's certain things. I know that there's certain things that happen in Atlanta, particularly with the way they jacking cars. They're stealing
Yep.
cars right now. Okay, then I'm gonna be on high vigilance, high alert, and there's certain areas that I want to avoid. And so if you don't avoid those things, then yes, you will get taken advantage of. You will get got, as we say in America. And so, guys, by all means, and like I said, we're gonna cover a couple of more topics in regards to this general topic. But
Mhm.
guys, by all means, if everyone is telling you what to do and you still don't do it, don't get on social media saying you need a GoFundMe because you lost all your savings.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just
They
saying
should receive $0 and 0 cents. You cannot play the victim and be stupid at the
exactly.
same time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna donate anything to you. You lack intelligent decision making,
That's
and
right.
you chose your fate when you decide to skip all the screens. If you go on YouTube right now and you type in Medellin, within the first 10 to 15 videos, you're going to see warnings within those first 10 to 15 videos. It's
Hmm.
2026, like you said. This is not a new topic. We're not discovering that this is a thing that happens. It's been
Hmm.
exposed, it's been talked about for a decade plus now.
Right. Yeah.
So we can't feel bad for it at this point. And I hate that it's continuing to happen because now with what they're doing with cracking down on this stuff, which I'm not against the crackdowns. I think the
Hmm.
crackdowns that they're doing make sense, especially given the very heinous things that some of these characters have been doing.
Right.
But what these people are going to do or going to unintentionally do is make it harder for the next Jeremy, make it harder for the next Cameron, who is just
Right.
coming out here immerse themselves in the culture, loving the
Mhm.
people, loving what they're doing, you're going to make it to where someone like me can't get here as easily.
Right.
And
Right.
that's going to be the fallout that, when it gets to that point, everyone's going to be upset because we had a couple bad apples just make terrible decisions consistently.
And that's a good point. So we all heard, we know what's going on in Medellin right now as far as guys are guys are getting stopped in the airport by immigration, and they're getting searched. So if you have any paraphernalia that will be considered yourself in the realm of sex tourism, they are stopping you, they are detaining you, and they are sending you right back. So it's unfortunate that it's like that, and the culture is changing in Medellin. I want to ask you, Cameron, do
Hmm.
you believe that we will ever see that level of drama in Cali?
Absolutely not. I don't think the city will ever support that level of drama here.
Hmm.
As Andre said, Cali is a grown man's city.
Yeah.
Cali is not, I liken Medellin to New York City of Colombia.
Hmm.
Bogota, I liken it to DC. Okay. Cali has more of a blue collar Chicago worker man's vibe. And the women are like that as well. They're very family oriented. They still walk with their moms and grandmothers and fathers holding hands. This is a very family oriented city, very family oriented platform. I don't ever think it will get to that point because the locals, the people will not tolerate it. You're not going to come here and passport bro these women.
Right.
You're not. If that's in your mind, I'm just going to spoil the trip for you now. That is
Hmm.
not how these women move here.
Right.
You are going to have to be a grown man. You are going to have your stuff together, and they're going to
Right.
vet you just like you should vet them.
Hmm.
Okay, that is not the culture here. I don't think it'll ever get here. Colinos are different people in a good
Hmm.
way. They're tough,
That's right.
right?
That
They're
is right.
aware.
I 100% agree with you, Cameron. I don't think we will ever see that. You're right. The locals are not going to let it happen.
Nope.
They're not even. First of all, there is no Il Poblado Partlejeras
None.
in Cali. So that's the first thing. Is that level of entertainment is not even in Cali. And then the second thing is it is definitely Cali is a grown man city. When you come to Cali, it's for several reasons. You want a mature city that's very nice, good food, good people, the
Yep.
dance culture. A lot of people come for medical tourism. You have some of the best hospitals
one Hundred
in
percent.
Colombia.
100%. And I have dabbled into that, and it is phenomenal. It is worth the ticket that you see. I think two of the top hospitals in Latin America are in Cali.
Correct.
All right. So the healthcare system here is amazing. You're not getting secondhand doctors. You're getting the best of the best of the best in the continent, and
Right.
globally speaking too. They're globally competitive on the healthcare market. So it's absolutely phenomenal. And you're right. There is no Park Laureles. There is no strip. Even though I live in one of the most busiest parts of the city, busiest section of the
Mhm.
city, I don't see that. It
Right.
is extremely rare. You don't see streetwalkers.
Mm-mm.
And I don't know how to say this in a PC way, but they call it being tuned up here. Um, you don't see a lot of that.
No.
Bits and pieces, scattered, but there's not going to be a lot of plastic surgery. You're
No.
not seeing the egregious BBLs and all the other things that people are doing in maybe some other cities in Colombia. They're not on that wave. It's way more rare. So it's just not a culture of that. I don't think it'll ever get to that place.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah, and in particular, the barrio that you live in, or we both live in, you will definitely see, like you said, you know, police officers patrolling the area around the park where you live, patrolling that
Hmm.
area. You'll see the I guess what you call this the security guards
Hmm.
right outside the restaurants and bars, and then you see a lot of policemen and women that are just walking up and down, usually around the hotels and around
Yep.
the nice restaurants. You're going to see all of that. So it also depends, like in Cali, what barrio that you live in. You know, um, and then I would say this. I want to throw this out there. Um, your well-being and your safety is up to you, ladies and gentlemen. And so your safety is all contingent upon what you do. If you go to Siloé, which look, I've known a lot of people who have gone to Silhouette, that specific bar area, and been totally fine during the daytime. But if you go at
Mhm.
night wanting to meet up with a woman, and then then it goes south, then again you made the bad decision, put yourself in a compromising position. Other thing I would say is everyone, you all know that I'm big on martial arts and being able to defend yourself. Physically, I believe in being able to defend yourself, but I also believe in de-escalation. That's the first
Mhm.
tactic of self-defense. And so, Cameron, I know you're involved and going to get more involved in the martial arts. Can you talk along those
Absolutely.
lines that, it's good to have a physical presence, but also to be able to de-escalate and to be able to handle business physically if you need to is very important.
100%, 100%, and that's like I mentioned earlier. I'm prior military, so I've had some training, right? But in no means am I Jackie Chan. Everyone, okay? So I de-escalation and just avoiding situations is always at the top of the list. And even though I love this place and the people treat me great, I don't walk around like I own
Hmm.
Cali. I walk around as someone who's happy to be here, but I also don't give pie. I'm not,
Hmm.
over the top expat smiling and just looking like you could come get me. It's a
Hmm.
fine line you walk of enjoying the city, having a presence, but not being rude,
Right.
right? Not exuding the I'm a bigger, badder person than you are.
Right.
That has helped out a ton. I've never had anybody try to confront me in any way, shape, form, or fashion just by moving in a certain way and, just not being too flashy either.
Hmm.
100% getting more into martial arts because we are going to be doing some one-on-ones here in August, and I'm
Absolutely.
very excited about that. So that's something I wanted to have in my toolkit. All
Hmm.
right. And I'll be adding to that toolkit while also knowing that the best way to win a fight is just not to start one, just not to get
Absolutely.
involved, not put
Hmm.
yourself in that situation because you can't relieve yourself of the accountability of the situations you put yourself in. There's
That's
always a decision or two that you probably could have made differently
hmm
that would have had a different outcome. And I try to never forget that.
Yep. That's very wise. Wise indeed. So we're running out of time, but I definitely want to get this question in. I'm seeing some comments in regards to the peso and the exchange rate not being necessarily, well, not at all in favor of the tourist, the traveler, and definitely not the.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a comment we got here. Let's see. Hey T Mac. Okay, so it's from Dre. Hey T Mac. See the video I sent on the Colombian pesos being the strongest currency in the world last month. In the
Yes.
world. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then see T Mac said, Dre, yes sir. I watched it. The peso has been the top
Mhm.
performer globally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll take another one here. See, and then Dre said, "Oh yeah, the peso is showing we are in the right in the right country at the right."
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
Yes,
I
sir.
would say, um, okay. So I just made an apartment purchase. I just invested
Mhm.
in an apartment, another apartment, and it was fortunate for me that I got the money over when I did
Mhm.
because the deal that I got wouldn't have been such a good deal had I moved the money over like a week or two ago.
100%.
Yeah, so I would say, ladies and gentlemen, you need to think about that. If you're thinking about investing in property, you need to keep the exchange rate in mind, especially
Mhm.
if the seller is American, which in some cases that is the case. Then maybe you can exchange in dollars and maybe it's not that big a deal. But if it's in pesos and the dollar exchange, then the exchange rate lowers, degrades, or it degrades from a dollar standpoint. That deal that you're trying to get might not be as good. It might be as financially good for you. Now, my question to you, Cameron, is:
Mhm.
have you had to be on a strict, specific budget with that exchange rate? I mean, I know obviously,
Mhm.
you work remotely, so you're still getting U.S. dollars. But are
Mhm.
you, in terms of thinking, okay, well, exchange rate? I think last night I was looking at, it's like 3,219
Yes.
pesos to the
Mhm.
dollar, which is
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Mhm. Yeah. 100%.
And with that being said, you're spending a little bit more with your dollar. Your dollar is not stretched your dollar is not as long as it was. Are
100%.
you financially managing your money any differently now?
Yes and no. I did come here with a specific budget in mind because that
Mhm.
was a part of the expat journey. That was a part of moving here. Definitely looking to see where I could cut back, save more, invest more, and not push out as much overhead as I was in America. So that was 100% in the decision making process. Now, as the dollar has lost its value against the peso, I've looked, at a few things a little bit more. Maybe the grocery shopping has been tweaked slightly, or maybe I don't buy as much chicharron as I did a month or two ago. So that is 100% in tune, and I'm keeping up with it. I'm happy for the locals. I'll say that.
Mhm.
Definitely happy for them. There's a lot of promise. I'm not going to get to the political part of it, but there's a lot of promise in the economic future of Colombia based on some other factors. But yeah, you're definitely going to have to adjust, and it's something you want to keep up with because you don't want to be in a surprise. Like you mentioned, it happened very quickly. I
Yes.
think 2 months ago we were at 3.79,
Yeah.
3.79, 3.75, and now we're at
Actually,
3.
Cameron, May, I have a screenshot in my phone.
Mhm.
May, it was 3,800 pesos to the dollar.
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. It wasn't that long ago, but it feels it feels a lifetime ago because yeah. So I am being more intelligent, more diligent with day to day expenses. You don't want to be wasteful there and be a good steward over your money, and just we're going to see how things fluctuate
Yes.
as things on the back end change. August is going to be a big month, and then the months
Mhm.
subsequently after that. So we'll see if it goes back up or stabilizes. But it's 100% something I'm keeping an eye on. Hasn't been a turnoff at all. Just something that's making me more aware of like my day to day, more frivolous spending. I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll take this comment from T Mac real quick. He says the weaker peso has bit me on renting. I was thinking about buying, but I did not want to buy at such a imbalance. It was 4,000 pesos a dollar when I moved here.
Yeah,
T Mac, I know, man.
yeah,
When
yeah.
I first when my first apartment investment, the one that I have in El Peon, um, it was about 3,900 pesos to the dollar. So I got a excellent, remarkable deal on that
Mhm.
particular apartment. And this particular apartment I got, it was like I said, I think it was around. It was right at like 3,700 pesos when I transferred the money over. So I did, I got a decent deal still. But yeah, if you're renting or if you're trying to buy and invest in the property right now, it might not be the best
Mm.
time right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Wait it out just a
I would wait
little
it out
bit.
till at least till next year, maybe first quarter next year. Let this thing stabilize a little bit. And honestly, when it stabilizes, because apartments and fincas and casas are not going to
Mhm.
be selling, uh, investors are not going to be buying them. You might get a better deal, like at the beginning of 2027.
Yeah, 100%. The market will definitely change. We're just gonna have to give it some time. We're gonna give it some
Exactly.
time because
Now,
it's been an interesting 8 weeks.
oh, it has been absolutely. I want to ask you this last question, then we have to wrap up the show. Unfortunately, what's in store for Cameron in the next? Say, I'm not going to go out 5 years. Let's go out. Let's go out 2 years. What's your 2 year goals and plan looking like?
Yeah. God willing, everything goes well with the visa and that situation. I'll be essentially in your seat, looking more into investing into the city, looking more into different properties and other investments that make sense here.
Mhm.
Um, Definitely, it would take a pretty substantial, a significant event for me to not be in Cali. This
Mhm.
is try everything I can to make this home base and build with the people that I've built up here in the community I've built up here. I'll definitely be traveling all across Colombia and exploring all the great things they have. But this is where I'm going to plant roots for some time and just build with the people I got around me, including you and all the great people you introduced me to and the people subsequently, so on and so forth. So extremely happy. Don't see that changing anytime soon. And I'll be more than ready to share all the comings and happenstances, ups, downs. I definitely feel like it's going to be a lot more ups over the next 2 years.
For sure, definitely. Uh, and I'll just say I think you're in the right place. You made the move at the right time, and you can really enjoy the fruits of your labor. You can not really work to live, but you can live a good high quality life and enjoy your life at the same time. Grind, but also enjoy it. Enjoy the process. And I think you're in the perfect city to be able to do that. So, Kameron, it was a pleasure and honor to have you on the show today. You gave some enlightening information for the viewers that might be thinking about relocating, or maybe it's 2 to 5 years away from them, but they can really start thinking in terms of what it entails to relocate to another country. So thank you very much for returning to the show today. Obviously, I'll see you at the Petronio Alvarez Festival.
Yes.
And we'll definitely train some martial arts real soon.
I'm looking forward to it.
I think we have one more comment I'll bring on, then we'll close it up here. See, T-Max says, inflation in Medellin is crazy, especially the real estate market. And I'm going to give myself, I pat myself on the back a little bit, T-Mac, from the standpoint, I saw that coming. This was probably 7 years ago when I went to Medellin. I saw the influx of people going to Medellin. I was like, you know what? You either got to buy it right now, or if you don't buy it in the next year, the market is going to be flooded and real estate is going to be overinflated. That's exactly what happened. So to me, right now, even with the low exchange rate, Cali is going to be the place to be. Cali is good ground to invest in.
100%. I have to second that. Because Medellin it's gone through its peak cycle.
Yes.
And the market's shifting and it's gonna level out. I think Bogota's done the same thing. I think Cartagena has done the same thing. And there's obviously some other smaller cities here, but Cali is on its uptick. It's on its upward U trend. And if you get it now, I'm telling you, 5 years from now, you are going to love yourself for that investment, because Cali is the third largest city. It's not a hidden secret anymore. More and more podcasts are coming out. More and more vlogs are coming out. People like myself are talking to people, and it's going to take its turn. Cali is having its turn, but we're in the middle of that turn. So if you want to get in, invest, make business moves, the sooner the better, right? Sooner the better. I wouldn't push that off for much longer.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks, Kameron, for being on the show, and we'll see you again. Obviously, you're always friends, and welcome to come on the podcast at any time, and we appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, all the new viewers, really appreciate your participation in the show today. Remember, every Saturday, 2 p.m. Colombia time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We always have good guests, good enlightening topics and discussion. Shout out to Dre for supporting the podcast and Cali culture in general, and everyone else. Well, let's wrap up the show. I always say, ladies and gentlemen, embrace the culture, live the culture, love the culture. By the way, if you want to donate anything to the podcast, obviously it takes money to keep the lights on, to keep things going, to get these interesting, enlightening conversation and guests on. So if you want to donate, you're more than welcome to. The information is on the screen, whether it be Zelle, the Cash App, Venmo, any and all donations help. So it's much appreciated. Again, thank you all for being a part of this podcast family. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you the next time. Hasta luego. Thank you for watching the Cali Culture Podcast with Jeremy Preston. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week for our next episode.